Hi guys, we're at part 8 of my top 100 Vita games countdown. Don't forget to check out all the other videos. So let's jump straight into the list. Number 30. Persona 4 Dancing All Night. I'm a huge fan of Persona 4 Golden and its music. Persona 4 Dancing All Night is a rhythm game with remixed tracks from the main game that I just couldn't stop playing. Even after I got the platinum, I continued to play because I just enjoyed it so much. The story wasn't great, but after Persona 4 Golden, I was just happy to have another story with the same characters that I knew so well from Golden, which made it a real pleasure to play. The platinum is very grindy, and has you replaying songs over and over to earn enough money to buy all items in the game shop. I guess it shows how much I love the game and the music that I put in all that time to actually platinum the game. Number 29. WIPEOUT 2048. It's so impressive how well this launch game still holds up. The graphics look great and the sense of speed is amazing. There's a decent amount of variety to the tracks and the missions for each level of the campaign. I really enjoyed the PSP WIPEOUT games, but 2048 was so much better, with wider tracks and more emphasis on combat, which I found so much more fun. It's a shame that online servers have been shut down, but WIPEOUT 2048 still holds up as an excellent racing game, with lots of content and challenge to make it a great game even for solo players. '28. Uncharted Golden Abyss. Uncharted Golden Abyss was the first game I played when I bought my Vita. As a fan of the PS3 Uncharted games, I was blown away by how good Golden Abyss was, and how it truly was the Uncharted experience on a handheld. It wasn't perfect. The touchscreen puzzles, use of camera, and the gyroscope for aiming were needless additions. But aside from these elements, the platforming and shooting perfectly mirrored the console games in the series. I enjoyed the stories too and the character interactions. As a launch game, it really set the benchmark for what the Vita was capable of, and it still holds up as one of the best games on the system. '27. Unit 13. It may be surprising to see this higher on my list than Uncharted Golden Abyss, but I thought Unit 13 was superb. It was the gameplay of a console third-person shooter, but with levels designed to be short and perfect for playing on the go. Completing the game wasn't easy, but this was a game I loved so much that I obtained the platinum. There's a great sense of satisfaction to mastering a mission and being able to stealth kill all the enemies, while quickly moving from objective to objective and finally attaining the top score. I don't understand why this didn't get better reviews when it came out. A 3D shooter designed to be played on a handheld, with variety of missions, soldiers and weapons, should have been a major seller for the Vita. It was also a good game for co-op, and for me it was the first time the built-in mic on the Vita actually came in handy. Number 26. Sound Shapes. The first time I played Sound Shapes, I didn't appreciate it. I rushed through it to get the platinum on the first weekend when it was released, and didn't really think much of the game itself. I replayed it when I was writing my first book, and realized how special this game truly is. The soundtrack is brilliant, and it's great how the platforming and collecting circles adds new beats and develops the track over a series of screens. The graphics too are just beautiful, and suit the music perfectly. The servers are closed down now, so all the user-created levels are gone, but even without them, the base game is worth playing. Aside from the core game, there are 2 additional modes, Beat School and Death Mode. In Death Mode, you need to complete a single-screen level with loads of deadly obstacles. Death Mode was super frustrating and difficult, as you'd expect from the name, but also very satisfying to finally finish a tough level after dozens of tries. '25. Gravity Rush. I wish Gravity Rush 2 had come to the Vita. Number 1 was an excellent game with such a likable protagonist in Cat. Flying around the city, searching for gems and completing missions was so much fun, and I appreciated how upgrading Cat made her feel much better to control. The story was really interesting, and although the controls could be a little fiddly when battling, it was such a fresh experience and unique world that makes Gravity Rush one of my favourite games on the Vita. 24. GUACAMELEE. I've long been a fan of 2D Metroidvanias, and GUACAMELEE is a great game in the genre. You play the role of a Mexican luchador, fighting to save the woman he loves from an evil skeleton. I was a big fan of the cartoony graphics, and the gameplay was brilliant. The tight controls were designed to force you to change up your attacks for different enemies, which really kept me on my toes. There were some great boss battles too. It's not especially long, but I thought it was the perfect length to leave me wanting more. '23. Rainbow Skies. I was so impressed with Rainbow Skies when I played it. It's a strategy RPG that improves massively on its predecessor Rainbow Moon. The graphics and music were great, and the complex gameplay systems were well designed. The story was a bit slow to get going, but became interesting later on. It's a super long game, so make sure you set aside around 90 hours to finish it. This is a hardcore RPG, so expect a challenge and expect to grind to get through some of the tough battles. I don't think this is a game for everyone, but if you're a fan of long RPGs with a challenge, like me, then Rainbow Skies is a game for you. '22. Crypt of the Necrodancer. I didn't play Crypt of the Necrodancer when it first came out. I had heard good things about it, but I waited until it was on sale. After one go, I was in love. It's such a smart and unique game, where you take on hordes of monsters as you make your way through procedurally generated dungeons to the beat of the music. There's so much to unlock and discover, and the controls are simple, making it easy to figure out how to play, letting the challenge come from the variety of enemies that you face. It's so addictive too. Once I started playing, it's hard to stop, and even months later I'm humming some of the excellent tunes. 21. Timespinner. Another Metroidvania on my list. Timespinner has you play as Luna, as she travels to different time periods to stop the evil empire responsible for the death of her mother. It's been compared to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is a massive compliment. I don't think it's quite as good overall as Symphony of the Night, but it's a brilliant game, and from a controls perspective, especially later in the game when you unlock all the upgrades, it's more fun to play, explore and dash around. The pixel graphics were especially good, as was the soundtrack. Timespinner got some negative buzz at release, due to performance issues on the Vita version. These were patched out later, so if you do play it now, then know that you won't have any issues. It's a shame we won't be getting Bloodstained on the Vita, but at least we have Timespinner to satisfy our Metroidvania needs. So guys, only 2 more weeks to go. Tune in next week for part 9 of my top 100 Vita games.